Doesn't this look interesting? What is it? It's a stand-up tumbler press, and it has an auto-rotate feature. Does it work? I don't know. Let's find out. Hi, I'm Marilyn, and my channel is Making with Marilyn. On today's video, we're going to try this Eenour tumbler press. Again, it is an upright press, and it has an auto-rotate in it. I've already taken everything out of the box, but I've never used it. So here's what came with it. It came with some heat-resistant gloves, and then everything that you see in here. Let me come around and pull it out. So the other things that it came with, we have, oh my goodness, look at this tape. It's purple heat-resistant tape. That is so cute. It matches the tumbler press. We have an instruction book, and then we have 2 spare fuses. So if you have a fuse that blows out, it goes in over on the side. I can show that to you later. And so I have 2 spare fuses in case that one goes out. And then we also have the power cord. Now let me turn this machine. Now on this side, here's where your spare fuse would go. You have to take this little cover off and put a new one in if the one that came with it burns out. And then this end of the power cord goes right here. You also have your power switch right here. Let me go ahead and get this plugged up. Now, when I'm using heat presses, I only plug them into the wall or an industrial extension cord, and that's what I'll use today. Now, before we turn this on and start pressing anything, I wanted to look at the manual. And there's some things in here that are very, very helpful. So, for example, this press has 4 modes, or 4 presets. Mode 1, it shows the temperature of 360. It's going to press it for 60 seconds, then it'll rotate. The second time it presses for an additional 60 seconds, and this is using a pressure setting of 75. Now your pressure setting is based upon the diameter of what you're pressing. And I'm going to use this mode 1 the way it is right here for my tumbler. Now all of these modes can be changed. So let's say you find that in mode 2, temperature of 390, maybe it's a little hot. Maybe you want to do a little less than 120 seconds. You can change these on the machine. So here's the way the 4 presets start. Again, you can change them. And then let me show you some more charts. Now right here, it shows the material used. For stainless steel tumbler, it shows use a temperature of 356 degrees Fahrenheit to 365. It suggests either a time of 60 seconds, second press 60 seconds, or you could do 90 seconds and 40 seconds. It gives you suggestions for glass tumblers, which I'm actually going to use today. And then the third thing I'm doing is a coffee mug. Now this press does have different pressure settings. Your pressure settings are going to be based on your diameter. So you have to measure what you're using, find the measurement in your diameter range, and then use the pressure that corresponds to your diameter. So it's a little bit different than I've used before, but I think it's going to be simple enough. Now here's what I'm going to use today. I'm going to try a tumbler. I already have this taped up. I have a lot of videos where I show how I tape my tumblers. So if you're interested in that, check those out. I'm going to use this frosted glass, and then I'm going to do a coffee mug. So this has a Grinch design. My frosted glass has this boss design. I love animal print, so I think that'll be really cute. And then the coffee mug, I'm actually going to put my logo on it. Now it looks backwards because you print these in the mirror image. Let's go ahead and start with the tumbler. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Now your counter's right here. It says 3. They must have tried it at the factory once because when I first turned it was on 2. I played around with closing and opening the press, so the counter's on 3. Now right now this is on mode 4. Let's go to mode 1. Mode 1 has 360 degrees. The first press is 60 seconds, and then I think the second press on that was 60 also. You have mode 2, mode 3, and then mode 4 is the mode that you always want to use if you don't want this to rotate. Mode 4 is the only one that doesn't rotate. So for example, on a coffee mug, you are not going to want this to rotate because of that handle. So when I do the mug, I'll use mode 4. Now for all these modes, you can change your temperatures, your times. You are not stuck with what they gave you. For my tumbler, I'm going to use mode 1 and I'm going to use their settings. So let me go back to mode 1. We're going to let this preheat all the way up to 360 degrees. Then we'll go ahead and press this. Now usually when I press a tumbler, I like to have butcher paper around it. I'm using HTV Ront paper. I have never had this bleed through the back. So today, unlike usual, I'm going to put it in there without butcher paper around it. If you want to use butcher paper in this press, I'd wrap it around it, just put one piece of tape on, and then you should be good. Now, to me, the big secret to getting your tumblers turn out really, really nice is your wrapping and your taping. For the top seam and the bottom seam to come out really nice, I find that I need a lot of tape. Not everyone does, but that's what works for me. Now here's the presets for mode 1. The only thing that I want to change is this 360. I want to go ahead and bump that up to 365 degrees. Now the way you do that, we're on mode 1, so I'm going to press set. That's going to show the temperature. I'm going to go ahead and use the up arrow and change that to 365. Now if I press set again, you're going to see how long it presses for the first press. If I hit set again, you're going to see how long it's pressing after it rotates for the second press. I'll press set one more time and then you're going to see the pressure. I'm fine with that, so now I need to hold the set down for about 3 seconds to get this set into motion. Now while this is heating up, I want you to see inside here. I might have to tilt this. There's a little base in there, and the base is up above where the heating element starts. I think that's important. I was afraid when I got this that the base would be at the bottom, and maybe you wouldn't get good heat at the bottom. Let me tilt this forward and see if you can see that. Okay, hopefully you can see that little round base over there. That's where your mug's going to go or your tumbler's going to go. This is going to close. It's going to heat for 60 seconds. It'll open up. It'll automatically rotate, and then it'll heat another 60 seconds. Can you see that little round base over there? I sure hope so. Now, the way I always like to do my tumblers is I like to have the seam not at the front. So I'm going to have the seam either to the left or to the right. In this case, I'll put it to the left. And then because that base is over close to that wall, I'm going to go ahead and have my tumbler pushed quite a ways over to the left. Now here's the start, here's the stop. The stop is just for emergencies. Let's go ahead and push the start. Now I see a little gap in there, but again, this is going to open, it's going to rotate, and so that gap is going to get heated just like the rest of the tumbler. Now just a few more seconds, we're going to see that open and we're going to see it rotate. So it's going to rotate and the seam is going to end up over on the right side. See it rotating? That is just pretty cool. Now one thing on tumblers, and I've always been concerned about this, the way that's pushing together, if your tape job isn't really tight, I feel like pushing together is going to cause it to kind of gap out. So I tried to do this really tight and I used a lot of tape. I always use a lot of tape. Whether I'm using this press or another one, I'm going to use a lot of tape. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lay this over to the side so I can set it on it while it cools. We're going to move on to the mug. So for the mug, I made my design a little bit shorter than the height of the mug. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and wrap it around. And then regardless of what press you're using, you want these sides of the paper to be away from this handle because it's not going to get all the way up to the handle. So if you make your wrap all the way to the handle, you're probably not going to get good pressure and good heat there. So that's why I left that gap. Let me go ahead and tape this up. I'll change the preset. We'll adjust the preset and then we'll heat this. Now here's how I taped it. I just put tape along those two seams. I don't have tape anywhere else. Now remember, preset 4 is what you want to use if you don't want it to rotate. So I'm going to press preset 4. Now let me look and see. What's that heating up to? 390. I think I'm good with that. 300 seconds. And a pressure of 40. Okay, let's just go with what they have for the defaults. So I have to do a long set. I'm going to push that set button for about 3 seconds. There we go. And it's already almost up to temperature. Okay, let's go ahead and slide this down. Now I'm going to watch this handle. This is the first time I've used it for this, so I want to make sure it doesn't get pushed up against that. Let's go ahead and stop that, open it up. Now, honestly, I don't know how well this is going to do because I have design all the way to here, and that's in that gap. So I probably should have cut my design shorter. I think what I'll do is I'll let it press about, let's see, how many seconds? What's it doing? 300 seconds? I'll let it press about 150 seconds. I'll go ahead and open it, and then I'll move the handle a little bit to the right and do it for the rest of the time. Notice how that temperature dropped. That's what happens when you're using porcelain mugs or ceramic mugs. They hold so much cold that it does take a while for that to get back up to temperature. That's not unusual for anything, but the mugs really take a long time for it to get back up to temperature. Now that we're close to 150 seconds left on that, I'm going to go ahead and push stop. And you have to press it twice for it to open. Now the handle's pretty far this way. Let me go ahead and press start again. Okay, so now it's pressing more over here. I'm going to let that get to 150 again, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop it and take it out. All right, let's go ahead and stop that and take it out. Again, you have to push stop twice for it to open. Now here's how I wrap the frosted glass. Now I don't know why I decided to try the first time ever to do a frosted glass mug in a new press, but I did. Now for this one, since I used preset 1 for my tumbler, I'm going to go to preset 2. Okay, so preset 2, let's see. That's at 390 degrees. I'm okay with that. Now the time is 120 seconds. I think I want to bump that down some. Let's go down to 90 seconds. Now I'm learning, this is my first frosted glass tumbler, so I don't know if this will work, but that's what we're going to try. All right, I press set, and then for my second press, I'm going to do 90 again. And then let's press set again. I'll get the pressure. Let's take that down to 40. Now I'm a little bit concerned about this frosted glass because it's not exactly round. It kind of has squared off corners. I don't know that this is great in any press. Maybe I should do this with shrink wrap in an oven, but I want to try it. All right, so I'm going to press the set button for a few seconds. All right, now, what was this set at? 390. So we're going to have to wait for this to heat up just a little bit. Now that's heating up quickly. Let me go ahead and make sure this looks good. Like I said, I've never done one of these, so I'm not really sure. But once again, I'm going to put the seam to the left. All right, that's up to temperature. So let's go ahead and drop this down in. And then I'm pushing it to the left because that's where the little round thing is. So when this closes, I want it to already be pretty much all the way to the left. So I'm going to push start. Now we're in our last few seconds, so this is going to open up, rotate, and then it's going to press for another 90 seconds. So there it's opening. And there it's rotating. And it's closing up. All right, let's go ahead and take that out. We are done. It is time to see the results. So we'll turn this off, move some of this stuff out of the way, and then we're going to see how they turned out. Now this tumbler shouldn't be too hot. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that has cooled down. I bumped the camera, sorry about that. I'll go ahead and take my glove off, and then let's see how this ended up. Now I like to just put a snip up there at the top, and then I can start peeling my tape off. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you don't accidentally scrape your tumbler because you can mess up that coating. All right, so I accidentally took some of the paper off. So far that looks good. Look at that. That looks really good. All right, let's just keep ripping. It's not real hot anymore, so it's not going to cause ghosting. Those colors are great. I'm really interested to see how this bottom turns out. Come on already, Marilyn. Let's go. Let's go. Get that off of there. Ooh, look at that bottom. That turned out pretty good. I see just a tiny bit of a splotch right there. Now here's the seam. Look at how good that top seam looks. Now if you see white splotches, those are actually in the design. Here's the bottom. That looks fabulous except for one place, maybe two little places just along there. That's great. And what a cute design. I got that off of Etsy a year ago. Never used it, so I decided to use it today. Okay, so that glass is hot. Glass, as well as ceramic and porcelain, they hold heat for a long time. So I'm going to have to put that glove back on. Now, the color of most of it looks great. Over by the handle, not so much. It's just kind of faded. But everywhere else, that's gorgeous. So I probably should have made... Oh my goodness, I put it on upside down. Look at that. It's supposed to be like that. Darn it. Okay, well, the colors look nice. Super dark, super vibrant. Looks good at the bottom, which looks like the top because I have it upside down. It looks great everywhere, but not at the handle. There just wasn't enough pressure here to get a good press. Other than that, it looks great. Well, other than that and the fact that I have it upside down. Probably won't be the last time. Let's hope I didn't get this one upside down. Let me look inside there. Nope, that one's not upside down. Now, I'm just going to try to peel under the tape. With sublimation, you want to be super careful you don't scratch that sublimation coating and mess up your image. So I'm going to put this weeding tool under it and then just kind of break it. That way I can rip that tape off. All right, let's see how that looks. So far, I have high hopes for that. Now, can I hold it yet? Not yet. Still super hot. That looks really, really good. I like that. All right, let's turn it and see how the rest of it looks. Now, there's a little bit of paper there. I can feel the paper. So I'll go ahead and rinse that off before I finish here. Those colors are gorgeous. There's my back seam. You can barely see that. And then this lightening of the pattern is part of the design. So it was meant to be that way. So this one is a big success. Let me take this, get that paper off. So that extra paper came off just fine. And this one looks gorgeous. Now here's what I think. For tumblers, it did great. Now oftentimes your tumblers are going to depend on the quality of your tape job. This did great. For this frosted mug, this did great. For this coffee mug, aside from the fact I put it on upside down, it didn't seem to get close enough to the handle. And so if you're going to do a coffee mug, you're going to have probably about an inch between the side of the handle and where your design ends. Or you're going to have to figure out how to do a better job than I did. Maybe I needed more time. I needed to adjust it closer to the handle. But I haven't had coffee mugs turn out like this. They've turned out much better in a different press that I have. So I probably wouldn't plan on using this too much for coffee mugs. I think you could get it to work, especially if you have your design smaller. But I would stick to using this for tumblers and then things like this. I am super impressed with this. For my first time to do a frosted glass mug, I love it. So we're going to push that aside. We're going to count these as big successes. And I really love the innovative feature of having it upright and having the auto rotate. Now, thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed the video, please give me that thumbs up. If you have questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that. If you do, make sure you tap that bell and select the all notification. That way YouTube lets you know anytime I upload new content. Thanks again for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.